In ancient Israel, over 3,000 years ago, there was a battle unlike any other, a battle between a young shepherd and a giant warrior. The two were about to face off on a dusty, sun-baked plain, with the fate of an entire nation hanging in the balance. This is the story of David versus Goliath. The Israelites were at war with the Philistines, their ancient enemies. The Israelites camped on one side of the valley, while the Philistines camped on the other. The two armies faced each other for days, but neither side moved. At the front of the Philistine army stood a terrifying figure, Goliath, a giant over 9 feet tall, covered in heavy armor. His helmet was shining, his armor glinting in the sun, and he carried a massive spear. Every day, Goliath would step forward and shout across the valley, taunting the Israelites. "Why send your whole army to fight me? Choose a man, just one, to fight me. If he wins, we'll become your servants. But if I win, you will serve us. I challenge you." The Israelites trembled. No one dared to face him. For 40 days, Goliath's challenge went unanswered. David, a young shepherd boy, had been sent by his father to bring food to his brothers who were fighting in the Israelite army. David was the youngest of 8 brothers, and while they were soldiers, David spent his days tending to sheep. But as he stood there, looking at Goliath and hearing his taunts, something stirred within him, and he spoke confidently to soldiers nearby. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he dares to defy the armies of the living God? The soldiers around him scoffed and laughed, but David stood firm in his belief. David didn't understand why no one had stepped forward to fight Goliath. After all, he trusted in God, and in his eyes, Goliath was just another bully to be defeated. David offered to take on Goliath himself. Word of David's boldness reached King Saul. At first, Saul was skeptical. David was just a boy, not even a soldier. How could he possibly defeat a giant so huge and powerful? David's response was that he has fought lions and bears while tending his sheep. God saved him then, and he will save him now from this giant. King Saul, seeing the sincerity in David's eyes, reluctantly gave his blessing for David to go to battle. David didn't need heavy armor or a sword. Instead, he took his sling, an ancient weapon he'd used many times to protect his sheep, and 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream. With his sling in hand and God in his heart, he stepped out onto the battlefield. As David walked confidently toward Goliath, the giant laughed mockingly and said, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks and stones? I will feed you to the birds." David responded, "You come at me with a sword and spear, but I come at you in the name of the Lord of hosts. Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and all the world will know that there is a God in Israel." David's words rang out like a battle cry, and with one swift motion, he slung a stone from his pouch. The stone flew through the air, striking Goliath squarely on the forehead. The giant's eyes widened in shock. He staggered and then collapsed to the ground with a thunderous crash. The giant was defeated, not by strength or weapons, but by faith and courage. David, the young shepherd, had triumphed. He took Goliath's own sword and used it to end the giant's life. The Philistines, seeing their champion fall, turned and fled in fear. The Israelites cheered as David's victory became a symbol of courage and faith. David's victory teaches us that no challenge is too great when we have faith. He wasn't the biggest or the strongest, but his trust in God made him a giant slayer. Whether our challenges are personal struggles or big obstacles in life, we can face them with courage, knowing that we don't face them alone. David's story reminds us that with faith, anything is possible.